It's Dating with Katy, and today, who cares? Who cares? I am talking about things that you are being so nitpicky on that I actually think you shouldn't care. So I think you're going to find it very interesting, and this is specifically to when you're reading someone's online bio, when you're looking at their pictures, and just how ridiculous you get about certain things. So you're going to want to listen, you're going to have to assess yourself a little bit today, and maybe open yourself up to dating somebody that's not in your perfect little box, which I like to call the fantasy island. Because you might be on that island for a really long time unless you're more willing and more open to not care. All right, well, before we get started, I just want to thank Sync Matchmaking. That's CINQE.com. That is the company that I work with. I love it. Trusted matchmaking, professional matchmaking. If you're interested, make sure you DM me, send me an email, Dating with Katy. I also do coaching. My coaching clients are very successful. We find men and women quickly for them because they listen and they change and they grow, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And on top of that, make sure you subscribe. Click the little button, join me, and subscribe on this crazy journey of dating where I want to get you confident, be successful, and have some fun dating. All right, well, I want to chat about some of my past episodes. I just specifically did one about what not to write in your online bio. Now, guys, I want to make you exceptional at this because this is your resume. This is you on a one-dimensional piece of paper, piece of app, of a phone, and I want you to stand out and be memorable. Well, I have a great girl, and she lives in Bodrum, Turkey, who actually, she and I went out to drinks about a month ago when I was there. She happened to DM me, and I said, let's meet. She gave me a great list of online bio turnoffs. So listen to this. I think it's great insight. Guys, you're definitely going to want to take notes. I don't agree with her on everything, which I'll share with you in a minute. So number one, I think this is funny. She said, no more pineapple pizza jokes. They're just old. I'm not sure that I've heard a pineapple pizza joke, but any pizza joke, maybe move on. Number two, she says, men, no pictures of you holding fish. Now look, I actually don't agree. If you listen to my podcast 13, where I talk about men and their photos, I like one photo of a guy fishing because it tells me if it's the end of the world, he can still make sure we eat. And it's manly, and I like outdoorsy guys, so I don't mind one photo, but please, just one. And make sure you also have a photo in a suit with a pocket square. Number two, when they write them looking for a partner in crime, that whole partner in crime, done, over it. Everyone's kind of tired of it. Ride or die, that's another one that people say. It's cute, but it gets old. You're not memorable, you're not creative, and, well, everyone's been saying it. So another thing she says is when they are looking for someone who doesn't take themselves too seriously. She says that's old, delusional, and offensive. And if this is you, go change that right now. She says, please, if you can't spell or tell the difference between your and your, right? You are and your, like possessive. Also, two, and two, annoying. Have someone check your grammar. Dude, write it in your phone and your phone will check your grammar for you. She says, comments about women's eyebrows or anything being fake, etc. Personally, she said that's none of your business. Like, you shouldn't be commenting about it in your bio. That's a very negative way to lead. You're trying to bring a woman into the fold. You're not trying to negate the woman who happens to have some Botox in her face and maybe some other things that, well, it's none of your business, but you probably like how it looks. So she says she also doesn't like it when you say, just ask. I'm 100% on board with her. I talk specifically about that and what not to do in your bio. It is so lazy. It's ridiculous, right? Or even when they write nothing, even worse. She also says, and she takes us back to your IG handle, which I have already expressed that men, if you are going to have an IG, you better keep it clean because we look at it. She says, if your IG handle doesn't show that they're serious about a relationship, as you are for followers or following women who are half naked, please, you're the 80%er and nobody wants to date you unless they're the other 80%. But my quality peeps are looking for that 20%er. She also said asking for an independent woman is a turnoff. So writing that in your bio, looking only for independent women. Like, what are you looking for? Someone who's going to pay her half? Then just say that. I mean, if you don't want to pay for a woman, at least you can be honest about who you are rather than, like skirting around it and asking for an independent woman. I mean, any woman who is quality is independent in her own ways. So, Gia, I just want to say thank you for these reminders of what not to write in our bio. Always open for your guys' info. I love sharing it. I think it's helping everybody out. So, ladies, guys, send it in, datingwithkaty@gmail.com. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, too. I do a lot of fun questionnaires, which I will be sharing on the podcast. So, getting into today's topic, who cares? I am always shocked by how picky people are. And look, when my kids were picky eaters, I used to say this to them: if you're going to be picky, you better learn how to pick. Meaning, I'm not picking that out for you. If you don't like that, then you go figure. If you don't like dinner, go make it yourself. I am not changing anything, and you're going to have to learn to be a little bit more open. And maybe, just maybe, you'll like it. Like, I remember as a kid, my mom made me eat blueberries one night. And I don't know why we were eating them for dinner, but whatever. And my mom said I couldn't leave the house to go to a drive-in movie theater with my aunt and uncle until I ate them. Now, I remember choking on blueberries, just like gagging on them, right? Well, obviously, now I love blueberries. And sometimes things are just a season in your life. Maybe through dating, you're learning, wow, that's really not who I am anymore. I used to think I wanted that, or that was really the first focus when I was dating that last person, but it didn't serve me well. So maybe you need to ask yourself the question, is this list of mine? And I'm not a big fan of the list, because every time I have a client that randomly, or I meet someone who randomly meets somebody, not online, maybe in real life, they will always say, gosh, I was at the airport, I started talking to this girl. She's not somebody I would typically swipe on, but she's amazing. That's what happens. It's outside of your list and you're shocked because you surprised yourself. So this is why I think you should stop caring about these things. Number one, sometimes people say some stupid things online on their bios. Even this isn't stupid, but one of my women in my database, which by the way, get in the database, she said she is looking for marriage. No, she actually said she's not looking for marriage. She's 40, never been married. Basically what she's saying though, she's open. I know that if she met, because I know this girl, if she met the right guy, she would get married. So you have to understand that just because she said that one thing, and I said to her, I said, Sandy girl, like you wrote that you weren't, you didn't want to get married because it was a get married, or the options were like two options. She goes, well, of course I'd get married. I did that a couple years ago and I just haven't updated it, but I would have gotten married back then too. So when I presented her bio to my client, he right away was like, nope, I don't like her. She doesn't want to get married. Look, at the end of the day, you're divorced twice, buddy. Like, maybe you should get to know someone before you both decide whether marriage is the next best step. So instead of being a hard pass on somebody, why don't you get to know them and see if you even like them before throwing the baby out with the bathwater? So that's number one. These little things that people say, let it go. You don't really know them yet. It's so one-dimensional. You've read 300 words in a Bumble profile. You've seen 5 photos that are hopefully decent photos, which we'll get to in a minute. Number 2, stop worrying about what sign they are, what letter combination they are, what anagram, nanogram. I don't even know what these things are. To be honest, I hate them. I understand that they're helpful in understanding who you are as a person and perhaps finding a connection person. Love languages, that's different. That's about responding to love. But when you say I'm a 7-8 on the chart, I'm an AGBTF, I don't even know. I don't even know what this means. I don't really care. I think we should stop caring about that. Look, I'm a Leo. I am a Leo, but I can get along with anybody. So stop worrying about what people are and their signs and their numbers. I'm over it. Just get to know the person, which means going beyond the app and maybe swiping right. All right, number 3, and a buddy of mine said this the other day. He's like, Katy, I'm sober, and I just don't drink. I don't enjoy it. It's not part of my lifestyle. Now, there's 2 thoughts on this. There's the people who are sober and working through that and are daily going to meetings and really needing that kind of structure in their life. I would say that those people shouldn't really even be dating yet. They need to get really firm and grounded in their health and wellness. But if someone's sober, okay, they write the word sober. Maybe they just don't drink. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe they had a bad experience. Hey, I'm going to say this. I dated lots of sober guys, which I appreciate, or guys that just didn't drink, because I could have 1 or 2. I never felt judged. And look, I don't have to, they'll still go wine tasting with you. I had a guy, he knew wine better than I did. He knew everything about wine. He would smell the wine. He'd send it back if it wasn't fresh. And he just knew that that was not a great position for him to be doing, is drinking anymore. So it wasn't a roadblock for me, and he had no problem with me doing it. So stop worrying if they're sober. Get to know them. Get to know their story as to why. That might be something that you really align with, but you never gave it a chance because of one word. All right, number 4, and I've said this before, I'm okay if you lie about your age on an app, because you should all stop worrying. Who cares what age somebody is? I have so many stories of people who go beyond the age limit, way under the age limit of something that I would even recommend. Here's 2. All right, so my coaching client, and coaching clients listen so well. There's something special about my coaching clients. They're really hungry to get in a relationship. We're coaching to success, right? So I have a female client. She's 50, very successful. Her son is in college. She's ready to travel. She makes good money. She goes back and forth between Florida and here. And she only wants to date a guy who's 5 years older than her. Now, you guys know I'm a big believer in the 10-year gap. I also know that men are a little bit more immature, and we want to find someone who is also in the same picture frame. So she could date a guy who's 55 who still has kids in high school where she's already out. So that doesn't make sense. It's not the same picture frame. Well, I'm at a bar one day in Corona Del Mar, and I am chatting with the guy next to me. He's so fun. He's a wine connoisseur. He has a boat. His kids are in college. He's retired. He's loving life. And I think, my client should go on a date with him. Now I ask him his age. Now he tells me he's 64. No way. He looks great. So I knew that I was not going to tell her the age. Sure enough, she says, Katy, how old is he? I said, just stop. I am your dating coach. I know what's best for you. I've listened to you complain over and over. These 55-year-old guys are not putting in an effort. They're not showing up. They're just texting with you all day long. So stop. Go out with this guy. They go out. They've been dating ever since. She did not know that he was 14 years older than her. By the way, he looks great. He looked like he was about 58. His skin was good. He was vibrant. He was fine. He was not 60. It was not his age. So stop. Just stop caring about this age. It is not your age. It is your energy level that people should care about. But you have to meet people to know that. So on top of that, I also have a coaching client. She's 38, wants to get married, is dating these older guys who are just not giving her what she needs. They're not in the same place in life. And sure enough, she meets a guy on vacation. And he is 9 years younger than her. So he is 29, single dad, watches his kids by himself. Now look, I'm not a big believer in women going down in age, but his stage in life is very different. He's uber mature. He's raising 2 kids on his own, and he adores her. So yay for my coaching clients. And you know what? Age was not the biggest factor, so who cares? All right, moving on. If their pictures aren't perfect, who cares? Look, maybe they haven't listened to my podcast, number 13 and 14. I speak specifically on what women and men can do to have great photos. Like I have poses, I have outfits. I'm here to help you guys, but maybe they didn't know about dating with Katy. So send them this podcast. But most men are not going to have great pictures. That is a given. Ladies, and yes, they might have a bathroom selfie because they're proud of their abs, whatnot. You just got to stop caring. If they look somewhat cute, if they look somewhat interesting, if their bio reads well, give them a chance. Really. And yes, maybe she has I have a client the other day, he sends me this picture of the girl he's currently dating. And in this photo of her, it's a little bit soft. So there's obviously some sort of filter on it. And he used to always say, Katy, I hate girls with filters. So I say to him, I say, Kevin, this girl totally has a filter on her photo. And he says, oh, really? I didn't even notice. So look, maybe a girl has a filter. Maybe she's got the bunny ears. I get it. Totally lame. They need to listen to my podcast. But let it go. Who cares? If the other pictures look great, if she still looks interesting, if he's bald, whatever it is, if they've got sunglasses on and you don't know what their eyes look like, guys, we've got to start swiping right more often because there are quality people out there who don't have great photos and who don't take great photos. I have a doctor, 67, good looking. I cannot for the life of me get him to take a good photo. And I'm good at getting people to take good photos. And lastly, I get it. If there is somebody who you're messaging, you're doing the DMs with, and they're just not asking you questions, look, it's usually a guy thing. Guys, I'm helping you out here. I'm going to tell you something, ladies. Guys do this because they actually think they're being really good listeners. They think that if you just want to ask them a question, then ask. And they'll ask you a question when and if needed. They're not doing this to be mean. They just haven't been trained. They haven't been educated on the fact that when I ask you a question, you ask me a question back. Now, on the Dating with Katy Cancun trip, we have a great guy who has multiple companies, kind of quiet, but you can tell he's just good to the core. Like, totally adored this guy. So glad he came with us. And we noticed something that we would ask him lots of questions about him and his kids and his life. And he didn't ask us a lot of questions. So when we dug a little bit deeper, we said, what's the deal? Like, why don't you ask a lot of questions? He says, well, I thought I was being a good listener. So sometimes it really matters on who's the more of the talker and how we can get those people to ask us more questions or kind of drag it out of them. So that's something that can be rearranged, taught, trained, whatever you want to call it. And those are all reasons of things that who cares? Give somebody a chance. You guys are swiping left on so many quality people, and you're not doing the work to kind of see beyond that. So I encourage you to give a few of these a chance. Let me know how that goes, and make sure you listen to my next podcast, because I'm going to be talking about the things you should be paying attention to while you are online dating. All right, we'll talk to you then, guys.